a former Meta recruiter, and again, Meta is the parent company of Facebook, said that she was paid about $200,000 a year and her team did nothing because there wasn't enough work. Maddie Machado joined Meta as a talent sourcer in 2021. This is a direct quote. I wasn't just sitting around and not doing anything for $200,000. It was an entire team of recruiters doing nothing because it was an inefficient process. There wasn't enough work for the team. She goes on to say, I knew that when I started, they had way too many recruiters for the little talent that's out there. How many times can you reach out to the same 1,000 people? Now, she joined Facebook after the whistleblower leaked the internal documents about how the platform dealt with harmful content. So Facebook took a lot of public relations hit in 2022. End of 2020 throughout 2021. And so she joins, and she realized that a lot of young people were saying, I don't want to work for Facebook for a variety of reasons. And I'll tell you this, leaders, as a side note, those of you that are leading, recruiting, trying to find young talent. I parent 3 teenagers. And I look at the data all the time. And I wish I could tell you certain causes for this, but I can tell you this about Gen Z. It's a really interesting generation. And I think it's going to be a truly historical generation. But one of the things we saw with the millennials, younger millennials for sure, and now it's amplified with Gen Z, is that they care deeply about the values of the organization. Now, my generation, Gen X, when we talk about values of an organization, we would think, okay, how does the company treat people? Do they treat them with respect? Do they develop, do they care for them? And that is, in fact, a value. But this generation, Gen Z, cares about the politics in some ways. What's a company's position on this public policy? I think it's misguided, because you're never going to find a perfect company. You're never going to find a perfect church. You're never going to find a perfect spouse. You're just not. But I'm telling you, they care about the values. They also care about the brand. Not just the values of the brand, but the brand. So I don't see a lot of young people wanting to work for Facebook. Why? Because they kind of make fun of it. I know my teenagers make fun of Facebook. That's all they see my dad on when he comes to my house. It's like granddaddy's social media platform. All right? That's what they think. So all this to say, this recruiter's having a hard time getting young talent. And she says they're sitting around. She's getting paid $200,000 a year to sit around. Some of you are going, I'd love to get paid $200,000 to sit around. And I'm here to tell you, no, you wouldn't. You'd love it for about a month, maybe. Because the human spirit longs for adventure. The human spirit longs for a challenge. And I'm just going to tell you something. $200,000 does not soothe the soul from boredom and a lack of meaning. You feel like you're in a $200,000 prison is what you'd feel like. So this is an example of big spending by these super wealthy tech companies, and they're not managing the talent. So what happens when Facebook loses subscribers or users? What happens when Facebook takes a hit in the media and they lose advertisers? Here's what happens. They start cutting back. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Facebook, has famously said in the news that this year is going to be a year of efficiency. In 2022, the company announced layoffs that impacted over 11,000 workers, and now they're going through another 10,000 cuts that has started in March. That's 21,000 people. That's a lot. And so what is Mark Zuckerberg doing? He's doing what a lot of leaders will do when revenue gets attacked, right? Advertisers dropping. We're threatened. We got to cut. We got to get ready for a storm. And so what do? We focus on the necessities. So what have they done? This is fascinating. And listen, you younger workers, there's going to be some tough love here. So as a result, Facebook is cutting back on a lot of perks. and it's upsetting Facebook employees, and they're in the chat rooms, which, by the way, to my young friends that are listening and watching, don't go on the company chat and bash the company. and to my older friends that are just stupid, don't go on the company chat and bash the company. I just reported on this yesterday. I talked about it on the show. Tucker Carlson, the biggest star on television in primetime cable, got let go. Because as popular as Tucker Carlson is, and as big as his ratings were, and all the power and money they pay him, guess what? He works for Rupert Murdoch, who makes billions. And all of you that work and do well, you work for somebody. I do well. You know who does better than me? Dave Ramsey. And if I bash Dave Ramsey, he should and will fire my butt. Don't go on the company chat and bash the company. You're asking for it. You may be right. They may be awful leaders. They probably are. They may be idiots. They probably are. They may be abusive. They probably are. Then leave. But if you want to get fired, start with this nonsense. A bunch of Meta employees are saying there's a decline in the cafeteria options. One worker commented on the lack of snacks and cereals in the office. There used to be more snacks and cereals. I like Fruity Pebbles every morning, and they don't have it anymore. Facebook sucks. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's happening. It's obnoxious. Snowflake. That's where you work. If they want to cut expenses, they get to cut expenses. Get your own Fruity Pebbles. And if you don't want to get Fruity Pebbles, leave. Because most places aren't going to give you Fruity Pebbles. I don't know why I'm picking on Fruity Pebbles all of a sudden. But that's what they're griping about. Here's another thing they're griping about. The company eliminated its free laundry and dry cleaning services. Well, I get it. Free laundry, dry cleaning, that's great. But guess what? If the company is cutting services, then they're cutting expenses, and you have to deal with that because that's part of cutting back. It's part of it. If you don't like it, you have two options. Option number one, get over it, be grateful for your job, and an opportunity to continue to grow. And by the way, be grateful for the time when you did get clean laundry and you got free Fruity Pebbles and snacks. Okay, be grateful for that. But it's time to move on if you can't be grateful for that. So there you go. There's too much griping and complaining. We got to get to the point where we realize that companies have to make tough decisions. They gave you those perks once before. Maybe they'll give them to you again. But if they've got to cut them for the overall health of the company, you have those two options. You can disagree or not like it and stay and be grateful for what you do have, or you can move on. But this idea that because I had a benefit once, it is my right and I deserve it again, this is entitlement. So get over it. Go start your own company and give everybody Fruity Pebbles. And I'm no defender of Facebook. I'll call these companies out when they treat people like garbage. But cutting benefits and cutting things that help the bottom line, well, that's just good business sometimes. Welcome to the real world, Snowflake.